DNVR Bets Daily. It's RK and Professor Dre every day. Say hey.
Hey.
What do you say?
I say hey.
I guess that makes sense. That's what I told you to say.
Yeah, right.
Great weekend, just from like a weekend standpoint.
Nice.
Average weekend from a betting standpoint. I got so distracted in like having fun with my regular life that I forgot to make very many bets. Terrible.
Truly terrible, though some might say the right thing to do. I kind of wish I would have stuck with my 4 + 8 with my 12 bets, and not added on the NWSL. And I'm also this weekend, and maybe this should have been our headline, this weekend in particular, though, has me really questioning myself. I've asked myself several times, do I know what the meaning of the word sprinkle means? Because judging from my losing slips on the sportsbook app on all these different golf bets I found too appealing to pass up, it would appear that when I'm saying on the show you should sprinkle this, I'm then not applying my own advice and doing a bit more of a sprinkling, which put a bit of a damper on my weekend, as did the NWSL. Of course, last night I had to double down, text Hank, hey, who do you like in this NWSL game? And we watched that, and that was a loser because I didn't take the draw no bet. I took the straight up bet, got greedy.
Underdog too?
Yep.
What are you doing?
What am I, not picking an underdog? What am I, some kind of fool? And that didn't work out, amazingly enough. But a phenomenal weekend otherwise with the picks that I suggested to all our good listeners.
Well, good for them, because I don't know what happened. As I was like going through my weekend doing, regular person things like kayaking and tubing, I was like, this is fun and all, and I'm really happy, but I kind of prefer to have my mood predicated on the athletic feats of 20-somethings that I don't know.
That's right. There's that missing feeling of self-hate around 11:30 and the desire to bounce back and bet on something close to nothing about mere minutes later. That I understand that. That's definitely a staple of my weekend.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why control your own mood when you can leave it up to something completely out of your control?
100. Couldn't agree more. Yes, 100%.
Speaking of great moods, how about it? Highlight of the weekend, Joey Chestnut absolutely repulsing us for 9 minutes and 59 seconds, and then just absolutely, I don't know what the opposite of repulsive is, just delighting us in the last second, coming through with the 75. We talked a little bit about that on the Saturday show, but man, that was exciting.
Yeah, that was wild. And I know in the company Slack, we've been rethinking how to do the Nathan's hot dog altogether, because it's, I'm so glad that DraftKings had that odds that odds boost for us and had that prop in there, because had we just, placed like $1,000 to win 100 on Joey Chestnut, that would have been no fun. That would have been over 30 seconds in. I mean, it's very true. So above the comp.
Yeah, what were we doing not putting every dollar to our name on Joey Chestnut?
I know. I mean, if we were just a little, I think I like to think of it as we were coming out of Shades Week. We had a very good week, but then we had a bit of a lull in the middle. Had we been able to stay consistent, maybe we would have felt that confidence. You really need to feel confident putting a bunch of money on someone where, at the end of the day, all it takes is choking on a dog, or one going down the wrong way, or coughing the wrong way because the water went down the wrong pipe. I don't know. I mean, they're operating at high speeds here, putting all those dogs down. I think there's a high level of risk. You never know what could happen, despite him, Joey Chestnut, making it seem so easy and effortless.
Did you hear him talking about the conditions? About how perfect the conditions were? He was like, "Oh man, the conditions were perfect. Like, it was the perfect temperature out, and I could tell the hot dogs were cooked 10 minutes before the competition, which is the ideal time. I mean, this is like the fact that this much thought goes into it absolutely blows my mind. But hey, I wonder how much money do you think Joey Chestnut is? Is he rich off of eating hot dogs, or is he just like famous off of eating hot dogs?
I think he's famous and has to some extent been able to parlay that fame into enough advertising / appearances opportunities to do this full time. Plus he has some winnings from his different eating competitions. True. He's not just, eating dogs. Like they had the whole list of records he holds. He's scarfing down all sorts of food. So yeah, I think even on a weekly basis, he's staying pretty busy. I think he's like digesting 5 days a week and then like breaking some world record the other 2.
Awesome stuff. I was gonna say I'm surprised that like hot dog companies don't want to sponsor him. Wow, Chris Hill says that Joey Chestnut's worth 1.5 mil, so he's doing all right.
Whoa. That's more than most UFC fighters make.
Oh, God, don't get me started on that.
Just saying.
I was gonna say, like, I'm surprised that no hot dog company wants to sponsor Joey Chestnut, but I feel like no one makes a hot dog look less appealing than Joey Chestnut.
He's also exterminating their product. I mean, it's not if if appealing is what you're going for, that's definitely not.
I feel like there's some sort of campaign that would make sense with him. Anyways, so that was the highlight of the weekend. The low light of the weekend, Andre. Oh, God. I don't even know if I can speak about this. I've got this parlay.
Yeah.
And I say, okay, DK is giving me 100% odds boost on a parlay. Mm-hmm. So what I'm going to do here is instead of getting crazy like you would, I am going to get the opposite of crazy. I'm going to parlay 3 heavy favorites, get it up over plus 100, and then use the odds boost. I think I was up towards like plus 290.
Which is nice for all the big favorites you had.
Right. I had Man U, Chelsea, and Man City all to win. All heavy favorites over minus 200. And, I mean, Man U takes care of business with ease. Liverpool actually sweats it out for like 70 minutes. Then they put 2 in the last 20. That's great. And now I have the heaviest favorite of all. Man City, something like minus 370.
Yes.
Taking on Southampton. Like, we're not talking about some sort of city. We're talking about a team from the Southampton, New York, I believe. Just a couple of frat guys from the Hamptons who put together a soccer team and happen to be decent enough to be promoted into the Prim. So they take. Is that not true?
Some of that might be inaccurate.
Oh, okay.
Irrelevant to your story, so I'll let you continue.
I could have sworn these guys were coming straight off the harbor. In Southampton. Okay, so apparently it's a real city, and they actually have a real team. And they beat Man City 1-0. It's not even like, I don't know, the defense fell apart, and
I mean,
they let in they had a penalty or something like that. Like, no, they lost 1-0. Man City scored 0 goals against Southampton.
Did you see the goal too?
No, I didn't.
It's the goalie's out trying to get, as City will do, trying to get all 11 involved and getting the offense back and going from the back end. The ball's intercepted by Southampton. Guy kind of slides in to intercept it. The ball bounces off him, and dude just winds up because he knows the goalie's out of the goal and just unleashes this wild shot that like looks like it's going like 30 feet wide, only to curl back in to the corner. Gorgeous goal. I really couldn't believe that happened. And, we had our doubts about Liverpool. How are they going to react? They won the league just last week. All these games are meaningless. They just lost to Man City 4-0. They were the ones we had more in doubt. City, though, they just trounced Liverpool. Still seem to be engaged and playing for their honor and trying to get back in shape so that they can really contend next year, since they've just proved that they're a more than level playing field with Liverpool. And then though they kind of drop, they kind of wet the bed just 2 days later. Did not see that coming. And what's funny is we both had part of that parlay in place with Man U and Chelsea. I didn't. I threw in Brighton, who sneaked by a W against Norwich earlier in the day, and then Chelsea was able to put it off after our Saturday show. You had to wait for City the next day, and it seemed like an easy W, but did not work out that way.
Yeah, I mean, I opened my app, 3 beers deep, feeling good, waiting to say, oh man, I can't wait to count my winnings. And I opened the app and saw they lost 1-0, and just like, you got to be effing kidding me. So anyways, that's the world that we live in. It's the world that we exist in. But a couple things. One, the Rockies' schedule is out, and I wanted to revisit something that Drew Kreisman said, and I don't really know where I fall on this. I think it ended up kind of evening itself out. But he said, quickly, if you see long stretches on the road, long stretches at home, 5-game series, that sort of thing, then really hammer the Rockies over. Yeah. We see, 4 or 5 4-game sets. But no 5-game sets, and even there's more 2-game sets than you would have liked to see in there. So it didn't really work out in that way. But we still like the over 26.5. Yeah,
that was
And Drew's commenting saying the schedule's brutal for the Rockies, so maybe he wants to rescind. I doubt he would want to do that, but it didn't work out great. Somehow they end up playing more road games against the Dodgers. Like, that's such garbage. Such garbage. Drew says he still likes the over. But, like, how does that happen? Like, how is that possible that they have to play more road games against the Dodgers and Diamondbacks, and then I guess they get more home games against the Padres and Giants. Whatever. But
boy, so much for betting on John Gray and Herman Marquez to win the Cy Young, now that you're not in the pitcher-friendly stadiums even less often. I would take that off. Who knows? Maybe having no crowds in LA will help us. Maybe that's all we needed, was the threat of death from those Dodgers fans was all we needed, and now things can pick back up. But yeah, that's a bummer there. I can't say I'm surprised, though. I guess selfishly, I thought maybe the scheduling gods would be nice to the Rockies, but it is the MLB, and the scheduling gods are not nice to the Rockies. So that's just another layer of existence as a Rockies fan, I think. And that's
if you like the Trevor Story home run leader prop, though, you'll love that he's playing extra games in Arizona because he owns the Diamondbacks. Yeah. Okay, so then before we move on, I want to give a shout out to DraftKings Sportsbook. Right now, when you sign up, you can get a $1,000 sign-up bonus from DraftKings Sportsbook, the top-rated sportsbook app in the country, and use that code DNVR when you sign up to get that sign-up bonus up to $1,000. And then after that, all you got is bonuses coming at you left and right. Like I mentioned, I just woke up and DK said, "Hey, have a 100% boost on a parlay," or I've seen that they're doing. What was it? I know there's another great UFC prop this weekend. It'll come to me in a second. But awesome stuff going on at DraftKings Sportsbook. So make sure you sign up. Use that code DNVR. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only. Bonus first deposit bonus and a first bet match, each up to $500. Deposit bonus requires a 25x playthrough and restrictions do apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Okay, we mentioned UFC, and normally we would wait, and we're obviously going to talk about this more as the week goes on. But if this is not the thing you're thinking about on the sports slate this Monday, then you got it all wrong. This UFC 251 slate is off the frickin' hook. And so I figured let's talk about it now, because a lot of times these odds start to shift as the week goes on. I want to give people a chance to get in ahead of it. We're not going to give out any official picks, I think, right now, but just start pointing people in the right direction as we make our way towards this UFC card. Explain how great it is, Andre.
Yeah, I mean, well, the big news this weekend was that after the massively disappointing news that Gilbert Burns would not be competing in the main event for the welterweight title against Kamaru Usman, that Jorge Masvidal, the people's champion, Street Jesus, who everyone wanted in this fight to start with, him in the UFC, he went very public in his criticism of the UFC and how they pay their athletes, was trying to negotiate a higher percentage of the pay-per-view. Anyways, they couldn't come to an agreement. Once Gilbert Burns beat Tyron Woodley so definitively, a couple cards ago, we watched that not too long ago, and made some nice money on Gilbert Burns. They gave Burns the title fight, and that was the main event in this card that has two other title fights, another incredible main event. It's just an off the chains card. Then we lose the main event. We were both bummed out, but I was telling you, hey, this is still going to be an amazing card. It'll still put, like a UFC 250 to shame. And then Masvidal, on just a week's worth to negotiate, the short time makes both parties come together, and we get this just unbelievable fight. Masvidal is this incredible striker, a guy who kind of took a year off in 2018, came back and had, a 2019 for the ages, just some incredible fights, some incredible knockouts. He's as fun as it gets. He's a guy who, has been on the main stage for like damn near 20 years. He was fighting in the streets on Kimbo Slice's, thing. Like, I was just seeing a video of him at 19, fighting this huge dude, Ray, who was a big thing back in those days. And that fight, which kind of started Masvidal's career, is what people have been talking about now, because that fight famously got a call while he was at a fast food drive-through and took the fight on like instant notice. And now for his first ever career title fight, I think only Alistair Overeem has had more professional fights before getting a shot at the title. Masvidal's, this will be his 45th professional fight, and he's finally getting a shot on just a week's notice. He has passed the first corona virus test. Him and Usman have flown over to Abu Dhabi to fight on this fight island they have set up. He'll have to be quarantined for 48 hours, pass something like 2 more tests in that period, all while he's losing weight. He's at 190 odd pounds. He said in interviews now he's going to have to get down to 170.
Oh my God.
Which insane in a week. Hasn't even had a full training camp. But
he realizes he can make way more money than fighting UFC if he teaches people how to lose 20 pounds in a week.
Well, these guys do this quite often, and there's no real secret aside from sweat it out, don't eat, like hydrate very little, and make yourself miserable for 48 hours, and you'll lose a lot of weight in a short amount of time. He doesn't seem concerned by this, and incredibly, when the line first came out, not that I was checking frenetically on the DraftKings app most of yesterday, Usman came in. He's had a whole camp to prepare for this, though it will be a huge adjustment, adjusting to Masvidal versus Burns in just a week's notice. Burns is a guy who he trained with for a good part of the last decade. So it was going to be framed as two guys who are very similar, know each other in and out, have been training apart, but are good friends, to this massive grudge match with a phenomenal wrestler against a phenomenal striker. Haven't really had a ton of time to prepare for each other. And, Masvidal said as much, but he's also said, I'm more than prepared enough to knock this bum out. And that's basically an exact quote. And despite all of this, that would suggest Usman should be an even bigger favorite. That line has gone down from Usman was in the minus 305s. He's now only minus 278. And Masvidal was in the plus 250s and is now down to a plus 225. The odds will be kind of stacked against Masvidal in some ways as you look at this on paper. But as you learn more about this fight, I'm just warning everyone listening, and you, Ryan, it's going to be very hard not to want to pick Masvidal, because he's, short of Conor McGregor, there's no more interesting and appealing and enticing fighter than this dude right now. He's just so exciting, and I couldn't be more hyped about having added him to this already incredible card.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, no one gets to say anywhere, anytime other than Jorge Masvidal. Like, no one actually believes that except for this guy. So
Right.
instantly, I'm with this guy. Like, football coaches love to say stuff like that. I think Bill McCartney used to say, like, we'll play him in the parking lot tomorrow.
Right.
But Masvidal is literally saying anywhere, anytime. 1 week to prepare. Got to lose 20 pounds. Like, most ridiculous thing. Also, Andre, I think we should do a show challenge. We have to try to lose 20 pounds by the time the card comes on. What do you think?
Oof. I can try for 5.
All right. 5 pounds is the number. Okay. Step on the scale right after the show. We'll tell each other. We're going on the Masvidal challenge. Beautiful. Here's what else. I'll just tell you right now. I'm picking Masvidal. It's just a guarantee I'm picking.
Great.
I'm looking at this card, and you mentioned it way back when I was telling you about round robin parlays, and this card sets up beautifully for round robin parlay. You got a plus 225 in Masvidal, Max Holloway on the undercard, or on the co-main event. It is right.
Yes.
Plus 185,
yep.
And then you've got Jose Aldo's a plus 200. Jessica Andrade plus 162. These are all lining up perfectly. I don't know how I feel about Paige Van Zandt at plus 525. I feel like they're telling me she's losing. But are you going to talk me into that one?
Yeah, Paige is intriguing too. And I mean, just down the board, I'll disagree on some of these when we do our full Friday slate. But just from a betting perspective, with the kind of odds you're getting, Paige Van Zandt, definitely more experienced of the two. Jessica Andrade beat Rose Namajunas last time these guys rematch. You're getting Jose Aldo, one of the greatest UFC fighters still in his prime, at plus 200 against a guy in Peter Yan who hasn't been tested at all at this level of fighter. Max Holloway is going in as the contender for the featherweight bout. He's maybe the greatest featherweight of all time, and you're getting him at plus 185. And Jorge Masvidal, one of the world's truest, most badass dudes, you're getting at him at plus 225. I mean, when you look at these, some of these favorites will win, but man, you are getting some incredible value on what are in their very own right some legendary fighters who on any given night could beat anyone.
Can you tell me where the main card starts and ends? Because I can never figure this out. Like, somehow, some way, we always end up thinking some guy's going to fight at 7:30 and he fights at 4:45. I'm like, what the hell is happening? I need to know.
These are big enough names that I won't screw this up. So it starts with Van Zandt against Ribas, and it ends with Masvidal Usman.
Okay, that's 5. That's perfect. That means the 5-way, a.k.a. the Canadian round robin, is in play here. And you said it starts with Van Zandt. I mean, 525, 162, 200, 185, 225. Like, 3 out of 5 here is going to be juicy if you get it. 3 underdogs. I haven't even looked at the winning method one, or to go the distance. Let's see.
And we're missing Masvidal. That's not up yet. But if you like Masvidal, you're also gonna want to take it to not go the distance. I'm just telling you now.
Okay. Yeah, we don't have to go the distance yet available. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
So
most of these, the yeses to go the distance, you're gonna get heavy minuses.
Yeah, it's actually, this one's very different from our last card, where there's a lot of value on to go the distance.
Yeah.
Heck, maybe we go knockouts on this one.
I like that a lot. I mean, these are another caliber of fighters, right? These guys are just so dangerous. Any small mistake, they just need the smallest opening, the smallest angle, and they can, put your lights out. So that's where things change here. But yeah, I am so amped for this card, man. Really incredible.
This is so exciting. And you just look at, the experience here. There's a lot of discrepancies in the experience in some of these fights. And a lot of times the more experienced fighter is the underdog. And I like that combination. Now, I know that, early on we were making jokes about, 40-year-old fighters and whatnot, but I learned my lesson.
Yeah.
Because Overeem went in and took care of business. Who was the other guy?
Oh, I mean, Grandpa Glover Teixeira really made us reevaluate everything.
Yeah, that was 2 in a row where I was like, okay, I got to stop crapping on these old guys.
Yeah.
I just assume it's like a callus. If you keep, rubbing the same spot on like your heel or something, eventually it turns into a callus. And I think these guys are just made of calluses. Their faces are just giant calluses. They can just take punches like no other. So Masvidal, I mean, he's fought in more than twice as many fights as Usman.
Yeah.
Aldo, again, more than twice as many fights. Andrade, twice as many fights. Like, I don't know. So I don't want to give away everything here because we're going to revisit this on Friday. But I just want to give people, start thinking about it. Apparently, the official name of this island is Yaz Island.
Yaz.
So,
yes, that's correct. Yaz
so
Island.
I'm kind of disappointed that they didn't actually buy the island and name it Fight Island.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad they had the money to pay Masvidal, and maybe had they done that, they would have been short on liquid cash. Who knows?
That's true. So it's a pay-per-view event. There's another reason to start thinking about this early in the week. I want to make sure you get that. But man, this is an exciting one.
Yeah. Yes, I am with you on that.
All right, Dre, you got any plays tonight as we try to kill time making it to Saturday night?
Yeah, I mean, this is a nice little slate of games we have here coming up tomorrow. Tuesday mid-morning is the new Monday night, I guess, for games.
Tuesday morning football.
Leicester finally won a game, but will they do it against Arsenal? You can get Arsenal at plus 130. You can get Leicester at plus 210. It's nice value on either side. Not sure I would pound the table for either, though. And that's the thing. The EPL is fun to bet on, but it's wide open. There's a lot that can happen on any given week, and I'm kind of fortunate that my parlay came into play. Chelsea would be a nice one against Crystal Palace to sneak into a parlay here. You get them in the minus 225s, but we got to find a good dance partner here, and I want these lines to load. So
what do you think of Watford minus 152 pairing that with Chelsea?
Ooh, that's nice. I like that. I mean, Watford, they haven't been exactly playing all that well lately, but geez, Norwich has been horrendous. So I do like that.
Yeah, it's always tough because the draw is always in play.
I know.
You kind of want action on this second game just because it's an actual good game.
That's the thing. And my problem is when I think like both Arsenal and Leicester present good value, I think to myself, well, then I should go after the tie. And you make fun of me. You're like, okay, we're rooting for the tie today, which the tie is not a bad outcome to root for. It's not like we're rooting for a 0-0 tie. We're rooting for the pendulum to eventually swing back and stay in the middle.
It's just so...
It never happens when you bet on the tie's the problem.
Yes. I was just going to say, also, like, it's so weird how important the first goal is in these things.
Huge.
Like, you watch Tottenham and Everton today, and it's just like they scored and the game was over. They just, it's tough always rooting for the underdog. Because when you're betting the tie, you're always rooting for the team that's losing, and that's tough on the mind and body.
Yeah, I mean, it's so true. It's so true. Here's a good dance partner for your parlay on Chelsea. Would be Atletico Madrid on the road to Celta Vigo. They're a plus 105. That's kind of nice. And if
Why
you
are
weren't a Milan fan like me, again, because it's on the road and the ties in play, Celta Vigo haven't been terrible. You know, Atletico's been a little up and down. But yeah, you're right. It seems, just looking at it, it seems like that's pretty nice value,
It
right?
does.
And then if you weren't a Milan fan like me, you could bet on Juve to beat Milan. That's plus 112. Again, they're on the road, so you're probably sneaking in a little more value than you deserve. You could also go with Lazio minus 286, but they're playing Lecce, which is kind of the Norwich of the Italian league. So maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll end up pairing Lazio with Chelsea with Atletico Madrid. I'll do that 3-way parlay, and everyone's happy.
If they win, they are.
Well, yes,
The one I liked most, I hate to say it, is Juve.
I know.
That feels pretty juicy to me.
Yeah, Milan's been playing really well, but you know these two teams played each other right when we got back from quarantine in the direct elimination for the Italian Cup. And like Milan played sloppy, got a red card 10 minutes in, and Juve didn't even need to play because they already were ahead on aggregate goals, and it ended in an ugly 0-0 where Milan was basically stuck in their own half the entire time.
They got a red card 10 minutes in, and it wasn't a PK?
They got a PK first. Juve missed the PK on the clearance. A Milan player wildly went for the ball without seeing that a Juve player was there and went in with a high studs, and that was that. So
wow, was it the same guy who got the yellow on the PK?
No, I think he got a direct red. Yeah. Yeah, it was rough.
Straight red 10 minutes in. You got to earn those.
Yep.
So they don't just hand those out.
Oh,
yeah, man, I'm gonna have to ponder that one. I guess I got to give out something on the show, or else I'm not creating good content.
Well,
here.
give out Juve. There you go. Hedge against my feelings. I'll be happy if you've won, and I'll be happy if my team has won.
I just don't know enough. I don't trust what I know. Although I do know that one of these teams has Cristiano Ronaldo. That I do know.
So true.
All right, I'm gonna parlay Chelsea and Juve.
Okay, nice.
Because I have to. You know, I advise against parlays, but we have a rule here, and I don't break the rules. The rules are you can't take teams that are over minus 200. Well, Chelsea's at minus 220. So the smart thing to do would be to take Lazio and just get it inside the parameters there. But I hate Lazio. They're my least favorite team in Serie A. So how could I possibly bet on them when I hate them?
Yeah,
you know, this is about your heart after all, as much as it is about your wallet.
Yeah,
for me at least.
In that thinking, I guess that's true. If it comforts you, I parlayed Real Madrid and Barcelona over the weekend, won that. The parlay on the EPL, those three favorites, won that. And then I parlayed Juve with Milan because I got an odds boost for that. I guess Milan wasn't a favorite, but Juve was. And that parlay hit too. So it was a great weekend of parlays and a great weekend of favorites. So let's keep that momentum going.
I'm not seeing... Oh, right. I got to go to Serie A. I just want to see what my odds are on this.
Yeah, let's see.
There it is.
It's 286.
Okay. Juventus. So they're still the favorites. That's good to know. Pretty juicy. Plus 210. Plus 210 if those two teams come through. Now, maybe...
And then I stick Atletico Madrid in there. I get it at plus 304.
Sometimes I like the fans being able to see the thought process of this. Because now I'm looking, and I'm a little afraid of the tie here. I could go Juventus DNB plus 123. Now I feel a lot safer in my move here.
I think that's a smart call, actually.
Especially after you telling me they drew the last time. Despite the weird circumstances, but I think that's going to be my move. Plus 123 there for that play. I think that's good value on two favorites.
Beautiful.
All right,
I endorse it.
And you're on the card for what? For how many things here?
I'm on the card for Lazio Chelsea parlayed with Atletico Madrid. So it's
All right.
technically one pick. But
So we're both in for one. It's
Yeah.
all right. We're just trying to
We're
make
in for
it
one.
to Saturday.
that's right. Yes,
The
we are.
grind to Saturday. I feel like that's what everyone's doing every week anyway.
Mm.
We're just now joining the
That's
working man.
Yeah.
All right. That's going to wrap it up for us today on DNVR Bets Daily. Thank you for joining us. Good luck. Hope your parlays hit.